What's up everyone, it's Matt, finally back with some more PC content. I uploaded my first two videos about a month ago, and then I just got really busy with work and my summer MBA course. I finally had a moment to sit down and work with some footage that I've had just laying around for about a month now. Also, the last time I recorded, I mentioned not having sold any of the PCs that I'd worked on yet. Well, the update there is that the two PCs from my first two videos have sold. The one from this video sold, and then about 3 or 4 other ones that I put together really quick, they sold too. So things have been rolling along really well, which is great. There will definitely be more content to come here. As of right now, I just hope you guys enjoy this video. Thanks. So about a month ago, I was patrolling on OfferUp, as I do, and I came across this ad for a Velocity Micro computer. Never heard of Velocity Micro at this point, but this, $100, this picture here looks pretty good. I was a little intrigued, so I was like, all right, let's look at it. It turned out to be about a 10-year-old system, just judging by it had a Windows XP Pro license on it, Core 2 Duo, couple other indicators that it was pretty old. So, but I see that it's got a hard drive, or a couple hard drives in the pictures. It appears to be on. It's got some LED fans, a nice windowed case. I assume probably an okay power supply. Even if it's an older system, it definitely looked like it was at least high-end in its time. So I was like, okay, let's put in an offer for $70. Guy gets back to me and he says, sure. He mentions that it needs a video card, which is fine. I'm not really, with something like this that's really old, I'm really mostly interested in the case, the power supply, the fact that it's got LED fans, that stuff basically. So if any of the, and the fact that it had 2 hard drives in the picture was what got me excited. Then he gets back to me a little bit later after we ironed out a deal for, I think, $70, and he's like, well, it turns out that I'm gonna need the hard drives. I'm not really sure of the specs. It's really old. I'll knock the price down to $50. I'm like, nah, I'm going in blind, so maybe $30. We meet in the middle. I get this whole thing for $40. $40 for the, can't really tell from the pictures, but $40 for full ATX case, a power supply that apparently works, LED fans, definitely be able to get my money's worth out of that. And the inner components I could either turn into budget build or just ship off. I ended up just selling those on eBay, but I sold the innards for like $30. No, I sold the innards for $40 and then had to pay like $12 to ship them. So made most of my money back selling the stuff I didn't want, and then I got a case, a power supply, the entire chassis for a build. And I got this idea, let's resurrect this old PC and make it something really cool, because the case is awesome. It was really high quality. This is the case all stripped down with the guts taken out. You saw the box that I ended up shipping. So this is the case after it has been completely stripped of all of the original parts. It's still got the 2 DVD drives in it that it came with, plus the floppy bay, but pretty much everything else has been taken out of here. This is the motherboard that I purchased for this build. It came in a lot with some other stuff I'll break down a little bit later in the video, but basically It's an AM3 Plus board with an FX 8350, which is, even in 2019, it's still a really great bang for your buck processor option in a gaming PC build. And then it's got 8 gigs of RAM pictured here. I ended up switching it out for different RAM, which you'll see later in the video. This is just all the parts that I'm using for this build. Not all of them. It's really just this Blu-ray drive. It's an LG Blu-ray drive that I got off Amazon. It's me installing it. You can also see the box on the right is a 5.25-inch bay adapter with USB 3s. It's got a USB-C port. It's got different floppy drives, and it also has an eSATA port, which is nice. So this is just me getting the case ready with these adapters that I've got. I also have a little 3.5-inch USB 2.0 adapter, because having the floppy bay plus the floppies in the 5.25-inch adapter looked kind of weird, so I wanted to replace the floppy bay with some extra USB 2.0 ports, because you can never have enough. As you can see, yep, this is the Blu-ray installed. Just everything looks, I managed to take this case and kind of update it for the, the modern day. This is me installing the motherboard. You can see the new RAM I installed. It's some G-Skill Ripjaws. It just looks nicer. Here we are getting ready to see if it posts. Spoiler alert, it does. I wouldn't have added the non-posting version of this video, so here you go, movie magic. You can see I also added that card is an RX 580, which I got a really good deal on. Getting Windows installed, which is always fun. If you've done this enough times, going through the whole hi, I'm Cortana thing is really old after a while. It's just some final pics of what it looked like, and then I ended up adding a red LED strip and a blue LED strip, and it just, oh man, this thing looked so good. It's just so pretty. Love the effect. Here's the specs. You see 12 gigs of RAM, FX 8350, activated Windows 10 Pro. Here you guys can see the final build as it's parted out. All of this data comes from the inventory I keep of everything. A final breakdown. This motherboard and CPU came from the same lot of parts that I bought. It was a motherboard. It was this motherboard, this CPU, an NZXT Hue Plus, which I ended up keeping for myself for my personal build. So, and then it also had a Phenom 2 processor, which I still have. May or may not do something with. It's kind of an older processor. RAM, this DDR3 came from a different build. I don't know if you noticed. First, earlier on, I had just some generic RAM in the motherboard seated. Then some stuff changed, and then I figured this Ripjaw RAM looked better in a case that was windowed, so I put that there. Final GPU ended up being an RX 580. Corsair CX650M power supply. This obviously is Velocity micro case. Hard drives are from a giant lot of hard drives that I bought for it was like $260, and I got 40 something hard drives. Most of them were 500 gigs, so I purchased a lot of 5 SanDisk 128 gig SSDs, and then I ended up running out of those, and I went to the same seller and bought the same lot again. It was $90 for 5, so broke down 18 per. I bought all the adapters off of Amazon, so normally I wouldn't spend the extra cash for something extravagant like this, but for the purposes of this video, I really wanted to spruce up the final product. So, funny thing, I bought an IO shield and then realized they sent me the wrong one, and it came from the Netherlands, so I just kind of ate this cost. It ended up not having an IO shield. And so here's the breakdown of the costs. Here's the breakdown of the revenue. This cell basically just calculates, it takes the profit margin, so this divided by this, and then multiplies it by the cost so that it distributes the revenue evenly across the different components. And this is just, this breaks down profit by each individual item. It only netted me 79 bucks, but it's a little bit misleading because I also got paid with a 750 Ti and 8 gigs of DDR3, which is worth about 70 bucks or so. I think 750 Ti is like 50 bucks. This is like 20 bucks, 30 bucks. So there's multiple ways I could have accounted for that. I opted for this one because it's a little bit simpler. I don't have to add extra columns for non-monetary consideration. So basically I got 79 bucks cash profit plus 2 components that I ended up using in builds after this that have since sold. So good deal. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. It's been a long time coming. You know, I've been doing this whole part picking, putting together budget gaming PCs, you know, OfferUp, Craigslist, I've been doing all this buying and selling for about, I'd say 2 months now, and this deal, I guess it's been almost a month since I actually sold this system. So the process for getting the videos together has been kind of intermittent. You know, I get a little bit of editing done here and there. Honestly, the buying and selling is really easy. It's really fun. It's what I really like to do. And I'm finding that the hardest part is the video production side of things. You know, the one thing you have to do is you have to make sure you're recording everything. Otherwise, you just have to kind of describe it in the video, which isn't fun for anyone. And the first couple of videos I've done, I've realized that that's kind of been happening. So you've really got to plan out your process for getting the video together in advance to make sure that you're recording each and every part, haul. Even if you're not going to use it, it's good B-roll. It just makes sure you have everything documented so that when you go to construct the video at the end, you know, you've got everything you need to make a good video. I've also made sure that this video came in a lot shorter than the first 2 I did because you know, 40-minute videos like this, you know, they can drag on a little bit if you're getting too deep into the nitty-gritty. One of the things about being inexperienced with this is, like I said earlier in the video, I had probably, I think, 3 or 4 different deals come together between making my first 3 systems that you can see in my first 3 videos. Since those have finished, I made like 3 or 4 other systems that have sold that I just don't have footage of because it all happened so fast. I put them together. You know, people came looking for them and they were out the door within a couple days, and I never really sat down to record anything. The next little bit of content that I've got coming, I think, is going to be a little different. I've recently got into using Plex a lot as a media server, and I finally I set up my own dedicated little standalone server, to host everything. And originally I just had this old crappy system, outdated, old processor, old RAM. It was like DDR2 and Core 2 Duo E 6550 or something like that. It's a very dated, older system that I had originally set up to use as a server, and I guess I didn't realize that if you want to be able to run a 1080p Plex server that's reliable and available outside your network, you need a much more robust system. So I decided I'm going to put together a really nice dedicated Plex server for my home use. I actually have the version 1 of that put together now, but I wanted to get it into a micro ATX case with a Blu-ray drive and some other stuff. So I ordered all those parts, and they should be here tomorrow, and I'm gonna put that together and try and record stuff so that I have another cool video to show you guys. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe. I'm like super tiny channel, like not getting any views at all, really. So if you see this and it's up your alley, I'm gonna try and put out as much as I can over the next couple of months. It really, because I'm just starting out and I don't have any sponsors or ad revenue or anything really, it really is dependent on me being able to, I get paid with my job, so I put some of my disposable income into buying parts and then selling things. It's obviously a lot easier when the PCs are coming in and selling really quickly, but I've noticed it's not really, demand is it fluctuates. Like, I built the first 3 systems and sat on them for about 3 weeks, and then within the span of like a week and a half, they were all sold. And then based off of selling those, people recommended me to other people who then asked me to build them systems. So I did like 2 commissions and then 2 other systems that I just happened to come together. So when that's happening and the sales are profitable and you have excess cash to reinvest back into things, it's a lot easier to keep the train going. But like right now, I have 2 completed systems, one of which is like a $550 system and one of which is like a $900 system. And I've been sitting on those for almost 2 weeks now, so I'm kind of in the position of waiting for those to sell. The Plex server video though is coming together because I'm really financing that with my own money because it's something I wanted for myself. And I think Plex is one of those things that if you're into computers and you like the idea of having your own little server at home, I figured it'd be right up the alley for what I'm trying to do with this channel. So anyway, thanks again for stopping by. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and I will see you again next time.